Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores, bringing y'all a special edition of Rico's Report. Just wanted to talk about our recent trade that the Washington football team has made for tackle David Sharpe from the Raiders. We gave them a 2021 6th round pick, and in return they gave us tackle David Sharpe and a 2021 7th round pick. So a round difference with David Sharpe included. And this is just gonna be a quick video, so let's go ahead and get to it. Let's get it. Alright, so David Sharpe was a 2-year starter at left tackle for the Florida Gators, which means something. If you're a starting left tackle in the SEC, which produces some of the best defensive linemen in the country consistently year after year, you got to be doing something right. And he played pretty well there. But the thing that's most notable about him is his measurements and his physical tools and untapped potential that you just can't coach. He's a massive guy, 35 and 38 and 3/8 inch arms, 10-inch hands, on a 6'6", 343-pound body. And I've seen a lot of places that he's the guy that you want off the bus first. I mean, he's huge, intimidating. And as far as his positives go, again, he's just untapped potential, one of those high ceiling, low floor guys. He has the potential to be great, but he also can just end up being terrible and never actually ever making a roster. All of the physical tools in the world, a big mold of clay that can be molded into a great tackle, but if he isn't able to work on his lack of mobility, which is one of his biggest issues, his lack of strength, his lack of consistent hand punch and hand placement, and just his overall IQ, he's never going to make it in this league just on a roster period, let alone starting or being any type of field ready. But again, he's just one of those guys that have tools that you just can't coach. You can't teach 35 and 3/8 inch arms, or you can't coach 10-inch hands. You can't coach somebody to be 6'6", 343 pounds. But just like Jerron Christian these past couple of years, he's pretty much just looked terrible. But also, just like Jerron Christian, it's been more so work ethic holding him back than anything else. And now suddenly Jerron Christian looks like our starting left tackle, and apparently from what I'm hearing in camp, because of course they haven't really shown us anything, but what we're hearing from media members, reporters, and even Ron Rivera himself, even Trent Williams, who he worked out with during the offseason, is that Jerron Christian looks really good right now, like a true starting left tackle, and he is holding his own against one of, if not the best defensive lines in the NFL, which is ours. They said he's had good days, he's had some off moments, of course, because it's the best defensive line in the NFL, arguably. But they say he looks like a true starting left tackle, and if he can hold his own against this defensive line, it should be a piece of cake for him to deal with other ones. And so maybe David Sharpe can have a similar transformation to where he just looks terrible his first 2 years in the league. He was drafted in 2017 in the 4th round. It was speculated that he may go in the 2nd round, but his combine stats were terrible. I mean, his bench press was even terrible. Of course, his speed was terrible. We didn't expect much out of that, but then his bench press was even weak, so he ended up going in the 4th round. Raiders wanted to take a chance on his unlimited potential. Hasn't worked out. But again, just like Jerron Christian, it's been mostly work ethic getting in the way. And now that Jerron Christian just admitted that work ethic was getting in the way for him, and now that he's actually putting in all the work necessary, look at the transformation he's made. From why is he even on this team to now our starting left tackle going into week 1 against the Eagles. And we're not worried about Dwayne Haskins' blind side, honestly. From what I've heard, he sounds like he's holding it down very well. But back to David Sharpe. Apparently, this offseason is the hardest he's ever worked out, and I'm not sure what the Raiders saw that made them just decide to release him. Maybe it was that spin move I've seen Max Crosby hit on him where he just looked terrible. Looked very Morgan Moses-like when he didn't even know the snap was going off. David Sharpe knew the snap was going off. It was a one-on-one drill, and he still got dusted. I mean, it was a really clean, speedy spin move by Max Crosby, but still, I mean, we can't have somebody out there getting beat like that easily, that quickly, out there blocking for Dwayne Haskins. But apparently this offseason he's been putting in a lot of work, so hopefully he doesn't look like that guy anymore. And if Jerron Christian can do it, basically anybody can do it, is what I'm saying. But one of the positives he does have going for him already, along with his just unlimited potential, his physical tools, physical traits, and all of that type of stuff, is that once he gets his hands on somebody, they're done. Which kind of sounds like he would be a decent guard, but he's still not even mobile enough for that. So it's amazing how he's even playing tackle if he's not even mobile enough to play guard. I mean, his feet are just terrible right now. But if he gets his hands on somebody, he is moving them out the way. They're blocked for that play. But one of his main problems is that he has bad hand placement and has an inconsistent punch to where he misses a lot of times and is not able to put hands on people. And that's why he's not in control of the fight a lot of the times. He's just getting bullied. Again, very Jerron Christian-like. Man, that is wild that somebody 343 pounds only had 19 reps on the bench press. But that kind of does happen with people with long arms. And according to Pro Football Focus, and you know what I'm saying, with their stats you can't argue, but when it comes to their grades and their opinions, their rankings and stuff, you know what I'm saying, it's a little up for debate. Not the most sure thing to reference, but they gave him a 64.9 overall grade for the 2019 season, which is higher than Jerron Christian, who got a 63 from last year, who looked like pretty much as bad as it gets at tackle, so I'm not surprised. But he's coming in to compete with Cornelius Lucas, who had a higher grade than him with a 72.2, which I'm not surprised about because I like what I saw from Cornelius Lucas last season with the Bears, and I'm surprised to hear that he's struggling so much at camp. I mean, of course, this defensive line is great, but again, guys like Wes Martin, Chase Roulier, and Jerron Christian are apparently holding their own against this defensive line, and it sounds like, from what I'm hearing from camp, Cornelius Lucas is not being consistent enough, and that's why we brought in David Sharpe to compete with Cornelius Lucas directly for that final spot on the 53-man roster. Because we already know Jerron Christian's the starter. Sadiq Charles, when healthy, will compete for the starting role. And at the very least, Sadiq Charles can probably be a nice swing tackle backup because he's very talented. Literally, the only reason I think he's not starting yet is because he was hurt. If he came into camp 100% healthy, I feel like he would have beaten Jerron Christian out for the starting position, even as good as Jerron Christian looks. And then also on top of that, Sadiq Charles could even possibly be versatile enough to play both guard and tackle. So keeping a roster spot open for him doesn't just feel like we're just keeping an injured tackle on the roster. He could potentially be a guard and a tackle depending on where we need him. Versatile. But then you have Cornelius Lucas versus David Sharpe, who literally both can only be tackles. Now, hopefully both of them can be swing tackles, whichever one wins the battle. But at the end of the day, they're both only tackles, and that's it. There's no way we can put them at guard or center. So that last roster spot, whoever we choose between them is going to be dedicated just literally just a tackle, which kind of sucks. So I hope whichever guy wins is the best man left standing. And it's crazy because we just signed David Sharpe as in Tuesday, even though this video is coming out Wednesday, but technically yesterday, as in Tuesday, September 1st. But the 53-man roster cuts go from 80. It's not the usual 90 because of COVID protocols and different rules and regulations. It's going from 80 to 53 Saturday, September 5th. So he has Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday by 4 p.m. Eastern time. I'm not even sure if we practice all those days, but that's literally as much time David Sharpe has to prove himself and to be able to beat out Cornelius Lucas for that last spot. And I'm assuming whoever doesn't win will just end up on the practice squad. But still, you want to make that 53-man roster if you can. But yeah, man, this man David Sharpe got signed on Tuesday. And by Saturday, at 4 p.m., he will have to prove himself. So every snap really counts for this guy. And I wish him good luck. I wish Cornelius Lucas good luck out there. May the best man win. But dang, man, that man has max 4 days to show what he can do. Again, one of those high potential tools guys. He doesn't even have a lot of experience, honestly, because last year he only had 4 games where he had 45 or more snaps, and he totaled 267 snaps last season. And in just those 267 snaps, he allowed 18 pressures, 3 sacks, and had 3 penalties, which is not good. That's not good at all. But again, I've heard around that this is the hardest he's ever worked in the offseason, so this should be a brand new him. And again, like I said earlier, if Jerron Christian can go from what I've seen the past 2 years to what he is now, David Sharpe has the same opportunity. One of those high ceiling, low floor guys, just like Jerron Christian, is just up to his work ethic to be able to put in the work and just make himself a better football player. It's that plain and simple, honestly. But it is wild that he's still only 24 years old. He's only played 24 games, only started 2. So he's very young with a lot of room to grow. It's hard to judge him off of what he's done so far, because he doesn't even have a lot of experience. But so far what he's done hasn't looked good at all, but we'll see. Honestly, I'm not super optimistic about this move, because I'm not going to say Jerron Christian was a miracle, but it's just not too often that somebody goes from looking that bad to looking that good from what I've heard in camp. But we'll see. You know what I'm saying? We didn't give up much. We basically just swapped the 6th round pick for a 7th, and hopefully we get a backup tackle in return, which is huge, because if there were an injury, he would be the starting left tackle, and if he's able to step into that starting left tackle role and hold it down, then that's way more worth going down 1 round from a 6th to a 7th round pick. So this trade has potential for immense value for us, but we didn't lose much for making this trade. So this is definitely a win-win for everybody. The Raiders were just tired of dealing with them. They couldn't get the potential out of them that they hoped. So they just basically went up 1 round in the draft, and then we only went down 1 round deep in the draft from 6th to 7th, and we could potentially get a good, maybe even great tackle to add to this already pretty competitive offensive line. Hopefully our offensive line, John Motzko, can unlock his potential. We'll see though. But that's the end of this video. Please like this video if you liked it. If you learned anything, please subscribe if you haven't. Please hit that bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification every time I release a video like this one, every time I schedule a live stream ahead of time, every time I start a live stream, all of that. And of course, thanks to everybody for the support, man. Appreciate everybody that donates to the channel. Shouts out to all my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors whose names are scrolling on the screen right now. Big shout outs to everybody. Even the people that donate just for Brody. Brody, thanks y'all too. Again, all of the money goes right back into the stream. Camera quality, mic quality, stream quality. Is going to be all types of creative once we get to the live streams during the games. Y'all can watch the games with me. I'm excited. Can't wait for football to return, especially my burgundy and gold. But I'm going to catch y'all later. Appreciate the support again. I'm out.